Ugh. Good morning. Good morning, good morning. We got a nice blank page for a new year, right? I was actually hoping to be done studying this book already. Let's see. Get my dog's blanket. Can I come lay down, Bosch? Over here. There you go. Good morning. Happy New Year. Looking forward to the new year. Got a lot of things on the brain to do. Not really New Year's resolutions, but I don't really do those too often, but definitely looking forward to it. Let's get that in position. Let's see. Yeah. Alright, so we got like 18 pages left of this book. I don't know how many actually have any art on them, but there we go. Let's get these sketched in and inked and all this. We got a bunch of little small studied here. Interesting, her note here on how to remember things like a child is like to memorize underlying bones, which is kind of funny. Ooh, careful there. Good morning. Happy New Year. Good morning. Happy New Year. All right. Happy New Year. Thank you very much. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everybody. We are back on our morning study today. A little late, but yeah, just taking it easy today. Yeah, it's interesting kind of what she thinks is important for the design, like paying attention to certain bones, especially one that doesn't show very much. So this should be the pubic bone. Like it doesn't, on the dinosaurs anyway, it doesn't really show up too much, but I'd like say the ischium, which sort of does, because it kind of hangs off of, the rear kind of hangs off of it. Triceratops. Yeah, as soon as you see kind of the overall posture, that's interesting. But yeah, but it's interesting kind of see what's important to her. Alright. And then she turns a hip into a monster face, which is kind of funny. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year. Well, oh look, this one's more like a bird hip. I see. Mm-hmm. I see. So she's saying that the hips kind of looks like a bird face. Even though birds have hips or pelvises more like reptile or dinosaurs rather than bird-looking ones. Happy New Year. Anybody excited about the new year? And we're looking forward to having AI bots all over the metaverse, officially created by Meta, all over social media. A little confused as to what they think the positive outcomes are going to be for this. Especially considering about how bad their Meta's metaverse project failed. I say that 10 times fast. Alright, let's ink these things up. Good morning. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year, people popping in. Happy New Year, people popping in. Happy New Year, people popping in. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Got a little late start this morning. I think that's okay on New Year's Day, right? I've been up since like 6:30, so just moving a little slow. Oof. That's rough, right? Sleeping in. Oh, yeah? Sounds like a good way to spend the New Year's. Are they any good? I see. I need to find some kind of local music place here. I've just been wrapped up with all the things I've been wanting to get done in terms of studio projects and skills development, the website, my Xterra project. So I haven't even really pulled my head out of this space just yet. There's so many things I'm trying to get done. Oh yeah. I saw Garbage just put out like a cover EP or something like that. Um, oh yeah. Yeah, I just saw that there was a Garbage that put out one recently, so I thought that was interesting. I think the last time I went to consistently to music venues was as a freshman in college. There was a music place that did performances downtown, and there was a couple other ones that just kind of popped up after that one too. And they were within walking distance of my the places I was staying as a student. Then it's funny that place kind of still remains like a music venue. like the names keep, names change, but they, it's like different ones. I think they've kept the same name for a while though now, so they're the same business. Guess they figured it out. I think part of what was going on where I was is a smaller town, and like, tons of college students, and so it was kind of like this major, I guess, creative outlet for them. Just because there wasn't a lot to do there. Yeah, that's kind of a rough night to catch an audience though on a Monday night. Yeah, it's like the way I think about museums and their hours. So a lot of museums, they're open during the week, often closed on Mondays for some reason. Open on the weekend, which is fine. That's good for them. But they always like shut down at 5 p.m., which I've never understood that. Because it just seems like most people work during the day. And museum, it's a muse location, a place of inspiration, so entertainment or other things. And always just seems like they should be open in the evening. Especially if you're not like in a major tourist city like New York. I've never understood why museums close at 5. Other than that they think of themselves like a normal day business where they're, I don't know, doing B2B activities or something. But that's not what they do at all. They engage with the general public. So that's kind of a quirk of scheduling that I've never quite understood. I mean, it's not like the director has to be there in the evening, but the guards and I don't know, docents or whatever they need to have kind of deal with the audience. Libraries are weird that way too, Though it seems like, talking to my sisters and siblings who have kids, like when they take their kid to the library, it's more like a activity center than a reading place now. Like they go there to like do games and look at do activities and things like that rather than read books, which more like a community center than a library. I used to go to libraries all the time. I rarely ever go into one now, because now it's like, well, if I'm going to read a book, I'm going to buy it. But that's me. I don't know. Everyone should do what I say, I think. But nobody ever does. They should all, pay me to be their consultants. And, good morning, everybody. So anybody got any exciting New Year's resolutions or plans coming up in the year? Yeah, like so, that used to be like so somewhere where I was living. When I was growing up for the music venues, the library was like half-mile walk from where we were living at the time, and so I'd go down there and check out books all the time. Plus, we was so POA, so so that was like a big source of entertainment. Or I'd catch the early bus at one of the schools I was going to at some point. I'd spend because the way our bus schedule worked, I'd had to get the early one, and so I would spend a chunk of the morning just waiting for the school to open in the library at school. For some reason, though, I never quite understood this. I was a freshman. The library at the school, so this is high school, they had they had like the magazine rack, where you'd have, or the newspaper rack, they would put the newspapers on the what do they call those, the dowel sticks or whatever they called those, they're kind of split so you could slide the newspaper in on a daily basis, but they had a magazine subscriptions there too, and including Sports Illustrated, and they put out the Sports Illustrated swimsuit edition in the library at the high school. Yeah, I think it was the high school. It might have been the middle school even. I was like, "What? What's this?" Which I just thought was a little interesting that they had that out there in the library. Yeah, so in terms of like census stuff, I need to find it somewhere at my parents' house. I think it's at their house. Maybe I have it, but I think it's at my parents' house. But back in the late '90s, when after the fall of the Soviet Union, my family hired this lady to do some genealogy stuff for us in Lithuania, and it kind of goes from people that came over in the early 20th century and all of that. I can't find it. I don't think I have. I think my parents have it somewhere. It was in a big like manila envelope. It was super thick. I'd recognize it if I saw it, but I spent a little bit of time looking around for it when I was home this last time, but I couldn't find it. But I found out that Lithuania has they've had this program for a while, but I knew mine was kind of disqualified. But they basically had this program because their populations are dwindling, and they could use foreign money coming in, but they'd like to emphasize their own people, I guess. But they have this program where you can get dual citizenship with them, and it used to be like 1915 was the cutoff date for exiting. But it looks like they moved it to 1905, which would fit with my ancestors who came over here, I think, in 1905, up to, I think that was the time when they eventually actually settled. Because they emigrated twice. They came the first time for mining in Pittsburgh, which apparently sucked enough that they went back to the farmlands in southern Lithuania. It's not in Poland, but it was Lithuania at the time. And then they decided that wasn't so great either, and so they eventually came back after a few years. But it'd be kind of fun if I could get that dual citizenship. I'd get an EU passport. And so I thought that could be like an interesting thing if I ever wanted to live abroad in Europe. That would be a nice way to do it without having to worry about a visa. Lithuania also has a flat tax system, or did. I'm not sure what they do now, but and I've lived there before, and I speak the language and all that, so I'm a little out of practice, but I think I'd pick it up pretty quick within like 6 months to a year, getting back to like active study of it. Just need to, especially these days, you've got all the YouTube channels and things. I could just watch those, practice. Should do that anyway. Turim praktikuoti kalbėti lietuviškai. Būtų gerai mano kalbėjimui. You sometimes get like Lithuanians popping into the program here, and then I'll say some crazy Lithuanian stuff to them because no one speaks it, so it's always quite shocking when they hear somebody speaking it. Yeah, I don't think England does. Yeah, because I know like after the Soviet Union collapsed, Lithuania's population was like 3.5 million, And I'm pretty sure that that extra like 500,000 there was probably mostly non-native Lithuanians, so Russians, Poles, Armenians, a bunch of different Eastern European ethnic groups. But I think their population has dropped like to 3 million or less, which is pretty significant. Because a lot of them, joining the EU, they got out of there as quick as they could, just because there's not a lot of economic opportunity there. They got really excited about joining the EU, and I just kind of think that was a mistake for them. Like, because where they're at, they're kind of sandwiched between well, there's Poland on the south, Kaliningrad, which is part of Russia. It's kind of this detached little piece of Russia. They've got the Baltic Sea there, a big port there, port city. Well, not a huge port city, but a really good port on their west coast. And then Latvia, of course, to the north. Their border with Russia is with Kaliningrad, though, but they have Belarus there. They had a nuclear power plant that gave them like 89%, 90% or something of their energy needs. They shut it down when they joined the EU, which I think was a big mistake. Supposedly they're going to build a new one. They've been annoyed with Belarus, I guess, building reactors right on the border with them. But I think they should have done more of like the Switzerland thing, just been a neutral country and an open kind of free trade market, because they are like dead center in Europe. And I think they would have been better off doing something like that over just being a little tiny EU country. Um, 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 so yeah, so I'd like to find that paperwork. I think it would be fun. Property's probably relatively cheap in Lithuania. They get warm summers, super cold winters. Um, I might be able to do this whole page. Got 45 minutes in, 46 minutes. But I'm glad I kind of shifted the morning study to just being a time-based thing rather than a volume-based thing. But yeah, so I'd like to look into that. They have some national foods that are interesting there, like zeppeline, which are, I guess the English word for that would be zeppelins. They're basically like it's a potato, kind of a potato dumpling, sort of, that has meat on the inside. Um, the only like historical complaint really to have with the country is they were let's say enthusiastic supporters of the mustachioed type during World War II, and mostly because they were afraid of Russia and Stalin. So when the fancy outfit army showed up in World War II, pushing the Russians out, they were very, very supportive of their ethnic policies. So, like Lithuania used to be, Vilnius especially, which was then part of Poland in the 19th century, was kind of like the center of like Jewish philosophy and thought. It was called like the Second Jerusalem. There was 90 what do they call those? Just forgot. My brain's slipping on me. 90 synagogues in Lithuania, well, not in Lithuania, in Vilnius, It was called Vilna at the time. So if you look like you read history books, they'll talk about Old Vilna, but which I guess is the Polish version of it. But yeah, now there's one. Of course, Soviets didn't help with the religious stuff, but the Lithuanians, they eagerly handed over their neighbors who were not Catholic over to their rescuers from Russia, and completely removed that population from the country. So, but those people are long gone. The interesting thing they had going too at the same time was, just after that was after the Soviets took over, after the fall, after the end of the war, they had a population of partisans running around the woods for like 15 years waiting for America to come rescue them from the Soviets, and running assorted operations against the Russians. So, but yeah, I think all that's kind of a interesting bit of history there. Yeah, we'll finish this page off. No biggie. Yeah, we'll finish off this page. We got 8 minutes. Well, 7 minutes left. If I can do math in the morning. Happy New Year. Funky screen going on for 2025. What's funky? We're just talking about funky times. Alright, so let's get these inked. Oh, sorry, Bosch. Just threw my nib on the floor. Alright. Happy New Year, Snovim Goldem, so now Jesus Mates Visiens. Sanin Philo. What else do we got? Gung He Fa Choi. Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome aboard. Oh yeah, I think that's a plugin that I have with the chat thing for terms of the emojis popping up on the screen. I'm not looking up there too often, so I don't always see it. But I think I saw one earlier. That makes it a little more entertaining, right? I really should look into some of the if we get more people watching on a more consistent basis, look into some of the more entertaining things people do with YouTube. Guess that one does pop out in that case. Happy New Year. Thanks for coming in. But yeah, the emoji thing's kind of funny. Something to do with the, I think the chat program I'm using. I forget. I remember setting it up, but I don't remember all the particulars of it. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everybody popping in. Hope you had a pleasant welcoming of the new year, the turning of the calendar, the raising of the number. Now you get that back leg in there, huh? Happy New Year, people popping in. Oh yeah, graphite powder is fun to work with. It's very messy. I still have like the jar of it I got as a freshman in college. charcoal as well. I think I bought that separately later on, but alright, just a couple left here. Get these inked up. Let's see, we're just a little over an hour, but I figured I'd finish the page since I was pretty close. That's a big brush, big piece of paper. Good morning, happy new year everybody. Hope you're doing good out there. Yeah, I did. I have my little MacBook up above me. That's actually the streaming computer. It's an old MacBook that I have. I bought after I was fired from SCAD. They had to pay me out because I already signed a contract for the next year. You think they would have waited out the year, but no. They, I guess they had someone who wanted to come in, but seems like that would have been cheaper to wait out the visa I'd gotten like the year before. But not to mention paying me out. But But I bought this MacBook with that coming back to the United States, and it's not doing so great anymore, but I've got it using as my kind of streaming computer. So if I wanted to do like a clean recording of whatever it is I'm streaming, I can do that to the main PC. And so I have the main computer this way. There's a little bit of a delay with the webcam versus the overhead cam on YouTube, because the webcam's plugged directly into the Mac, but the overhead cam is in the PC, and it's kind of streaming to the Mac. So there's a little bit of a delay if you've ever wondered why that is, or if you've noticed it. So yeah, it's fun, experimenting with media. That's a big part of the art experience, right? Is trying out new media. I've got a few things I want to try out in the new year. Keep working on the Blender stuff. Finish up this portfolio project, hopefully soon. I mean, I thought I'd be done by now. Maybe I just need to like crank out what I want, but because I'm looking at it as being for something else. Or maybe I just need to make some decisions and run with them. But I think what I'm going to do, I've been thinking about the morning study thing, because this book's getting close to being done, and the next week or two or whatever is left. But maybe start doing go back to drawing from some reference, like do some figure stuff, expression stuff. I think that would be hands. Kind of practice that for a month, and then go back to maybe a book after that. So that's what I'm thinking about doing. Because I'd like to. The next kind of major part of the portfolio thing is really working out the character stuff. Oh, somebody's dreaming down there under their blanket. I got a little slowed down with finishing this project because I was at home at my parents'. Yeah, the problem with the graphite powder, or charcoal powder for that matter, is it's really, really messy. You'll breathe it in, and so you want to make sure you're doing it outside. I would never work with that stuff. I wouldn't set it up inside. I would take whatever I'm working on outside to deal with it. Alright, we're bringing this finished drawing to a close here in a minute. Alright, this is page 140. Let's see if I can write the correct year on here for the date. So it's 2005, right? That's the year we got here. There we go, 25. 01. 01. All right. Yeah, you definitely want to, any kind of dust like that, you definitely want to do it outside. It's just like people work with like real pastels, not oil pastels, but like the dusty kind. Like there's the same pigments that are in like oil paint and other paints that they use for those, like the cadmiums is in that. And that stuff is really, really toxic. And so often people that work in like real pastels, they have to wear a mask. They have a lot of ventilation. It kind of seems like just a really awkward way of working. There's the people they'll take it outside. But yeah, thanks everybody that came in. Hopefully be back on later today. I got a bunch of chores to do today. Need to be ready for the school year. Starts up in a little over a week. Well, about a week and a half. And got to prep some lessons stuff and some other school paperwork for the upcoming year. But thanks everybody that came out for the quick little morning study. Everyone's popping in all of a sudden over on Instagram. If you haven't been over there, do check out my teaching site at myartprofessor.com. I've been reworking a lot of the front end stuff in preparation for putting up some new course material. So if you haven't checked that out, and you're looking to work on your drawing this year, that's a good place to start. So anyway, have a good New Year, and we'll talk to everybody later.